World champion in car racing?
It's model car racing. We have been world champions in 1/12 scale and 1/8 scale, so we're very proud of that fact. That was a big accomplishment for us. It's a very popular sport all around the world, and it's growing.
Well, it looks like a great deal of fun, Gene, and I want to thank you for joining us today and showing us your little electric-powered cars and telling us about your gas-powered cars and about all the competitions. And who would have thunk it, huh?
Yeah, not me.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Corona, California, USA, Tony Van Haven, Neisinger. From Tokyo, Japan, Mr. Masami Hirosaka. Troy, Ohio, USA, Mendoza.
As most of you know, Team Associated's racing heritage is deeply rooted in on-road racing history. And in the 1980s, we saw a rise of the 12 scale on-road class, much in part to the success of the RC12. Well, the RC12L that you see in front of me is an evolution of the RC12E, and the RC12L was piloted by Tony Neisinger in 1986 for the IFMAR World Championships, followed up by Masami Hirosaka in 1988, and again by Chris Dosick in 1990. Well, today we are faithfully re-releasing the RC12L so everyone could see what this car was all about.
1/12 electric racing underway. The 1/12 cars were the next most popular type of car. Top qualifier Tony Neisinger immediately spun out and got hit by half the field, dropping him to last place. Tony had moved back up to third, but it looked like Gil's race. Then with 30 seconds to go, Tony passed Butch and then Gil, and on the last lap, to the win. Way to go, Tony. Tony Neisinger won the 1/12 modified race. Tony, you're amazing.
The greatest and most gratifying win for me personally was when we TQ'd and won the 1986 IFMAR 1/12 scale World Championships in Las Vegas with the RC12L. That race in Vegas was the greatest highlight for me in my entire career, just from the fact that quite a bit of my family was there to see it all happen. It was by far the greatest time for all of us, team and family included.
You're trying to get him, Greg.
I'm not stupid. Maybe.
Give that thing back to Reedy. Get a new one. Get a new one.
I won the race, and the following year, at the 1988 World Championship held in the Holland, I used this RC12L to become my first world champion in the on-road category.
Masami will go one more.
So we competed against Associated initially because my first sponsorship was actually Delta for on-road, and we kind of formally agreed to start working with Associated. I left Delta and started running everything Associated, and so I built an iCar, I built an RC500, and the iCar was a really good car in its time, but it wasn't really great for our situation that we raced at the pit shop and a lot of the other outdoor tracks. So the car was fairly fragile. All the cars of that generation were pretty fragile. And if you came around and hit a dot and flexed the chassis too far, all the little cutouts you'd get little stress risers and the chassis would bend. And it was quite a lot of work to replace a chassis on one of those and get your car back to being the same. I was struggling with it because I didn't like how easily it tweaked when you hit a dot. More than just the driving, it was more just, we raced on big, fast tracks with plow discs, so every time you hit a disc, the car would change, and I didn't appreciate that. So I went to Gene and asked him if I could build a different car, off of Associated Parts, and he gave me permission, which I was very thankful he did. And so I went back and made what we called a kind of a slab chassis car, where the chassis was its own structural member. And I wanted to do a T-bar similar to what the Delta Superphaser had, but their car was really fragile in the T-bar. So I went about trying to figure out how to build a T-bar that was strong enough, but then they were all too stiff. So I had to come up with a way to make it soft, and that's when I had worked in skateboarding, we had played around with spherical bearings in skateboard trucks. So I had that concept in my head from skateboarding and went and found a way to cram a spherical bearing into a T-bar, mounted it to a slab chassis, and I kept both T-bars. And if you look at the original car, there's no supporting structure on the car other than on the pod. And you kind of had to support the motor mass. So I went back to all the 12E parts to just fit the packaging better. So I used a really soft flexing T-bar with the spherical balls, a Springer front end on a slab chassis. There was no other supports. And the magic thing about that car that still probably is wrong with a lot of cars today, that car could hit a plow disc hard and not change tweak. So there was nothing to twist and keep it from coming back to home. So that was the whole point of that car for me, was making something that was strong, that could hit a plow disc, and your car stayed flat. And Ernie Privetti wanted to make the car. He's like, let's just produce the car and sell it under Trinity. Then Gene called and said, do you mind if we produce the car? And I'm like, I told Ernie no. He never stopped teasing me about that. So it's like, no, Associated sponsored me, gave me everything. They've taught me so much that it's theirs first. If they want to make it, they can do it. And so really, they took a car that was a finished running prototype, and then they just cleaned up the design, made it a little narrower.
In my opinion, that T-bar design is one of the most significant designs in the history of RC car racing. What's amazing to me is that remarkable 40-year-old T-bar design is still being used to this day in some form of competitive RC car racing.
Without the success of the RC12L platform, Team Associated frankly wouldn't be where we are today. We've claimed more IFMAR World Championships than anybody else, and second place isn't even a close margin.
There's been a lot of people asking for this car for a long time, and it's a long time coming, but here it is. The kit will include a clear TOJ body, along with a clear driver, and a full decal sheet, just like you see. This car at that time period, everyone was running a TOJ body. There's all kinds of other bodies that were available, but this body was like the most friendly driving, not too much steering, but the body is just the best one for 12 scale racing at that time. The kit back in the time came with a graphite version and a fiberglass version. This is the graphite version. The features on the car are basically just like the kit came with back in that time, with the carbon fiber chassis, carbon fiber top plate, the ball diff, the spring dampener, spring front end. Also comes with a carbon fiber rear differential axle, front and rear tires and wheels, molded body mounts, front and rear, fiberglass T-plate, all the parts that you would have had back in the day.
It has been 37 years since then, and it feels like a dream that RC12L is being released.
The re-release of the RC12L looks exactly like how I remembered racing it. I no longer have the original car that I won at the Vegas World Championships, but I do still have the one that won in Grand Rapids. This particular one is the RC12LW, where we had incorporated the shock, but it's pretty much the same thing that I raced throughout the years of the RC12L. And like I said, it was the greatest for me in my career.
I think it's fun. It's a part of history that I really enjoyed, and I hope hope other people get to enjoy it the way we did.
One fast group. Number 1, Masami Hirosaka. Number 2, Tony Neisinger. And number 3, Christian Kyle. All use the associated RC12L cars and Reedy motors and batteries. You guys were awesome. Congratulations.
And Gil Losi. And I think Lawson just moved up the place. We'll have to wait for him to come by. R6 is in third now.
Well, you can now pick up the RC12L at popular retailers and through rc10.com, along with a nice list of replacement parts.
Come again, associated RC12L. I'm so excited.